Alrighty, hello everybody, this is Show here. Now then, whenever we last left off, Deku, he had just gotten, well, heavily injured by the Nomu. Todoroki, she found out exactly what Deku meant by he got his dad's quirk, and All Might had found Deku's notebook. So, a lot of things have been going on. Now, Deku, he would try spending some time awake before, well, one thing would happen. He would fall asleep sometime around 1 in the morning. And he would wake up at 3 in the morning trying to move. Or, well, at least get out of bed. Since these nightmares just keep provoking him and pissing him off. As All Might would have walked into the hospital room. Now, whenever All Might walked in, he was kinda let in by night staff, since he kind of let them know exactly what was going on with his son, stating that he would bring a special machine by and that he can, well, talk to his son afterwards, if that would be alright, to which they would have allowed. Now, All Might would have brought in the sleeping machine, as Deku would hear the door open. He would have been scared for a second, but realized that it was his dad, and calmed down. All Might would just sit down, saying that it's going to be okay. Did you have a nightmare again? Yeah, I did. They won't stop. Yes, I'm quite aware of that. Now, I have a feeling that this is all for one's doing. Really. Yes. Anytime these machines are, well, here, they keep us in a deep enough sleep for the quirk not to get in our heads. Besides, David was able to send this over though, as All Might would just hold up a mask, saying that after he completed and, well, looked over the technology, he was able to make improvements. This is more compact than the machine we used to use. Huh? As Deku would be looking at this, All Might's basically holding it in his hand. It's basically a mask with a blacked out visor across the eyes, a hole for the nose, and, well, a piece attached to around the face, and a respirator that will cover Deku's mouth. Along with All Might holding up a pair of earbuds, or at least what looks like them. As he would say that David was not there at the airport to meet him in person, however. But they did see someone, or, well, he did meet someone, as Melissa would walk into the room, saying that it's been a long time, Midoriya. Hi, Melissa. As she would look at him, asking, wait, can you move at all? No, not really. Not without a lot of pain. I am so sorry. Well, anyways, yeah, I heard you guys' sports festival's coming up, so I thought I should stick around. My dad was actually going to be here in a couple of days too, so we wanted to watch you guys perform, or, well, fight. That's pretty cool. As All Might would just say that Melissa, she should really just head back to All Might's house. They'll let Midoriya rest here. As All Might would just tell Deku that, well, he needs his permission to do this, since he kind of needs to do some uncomfortable things. Basically, you kind of have to push the mask down your face, and putting the earbuds in might be a bit uncomfortable. However, they do somewhat mold into your ears, and cover the entire area. Now then, Deku, he would be sitting down, basically not able to see and only able to hear his own, well, feel his own breathing, as he would fall asleep and wake up. Whenever he wakes up, however, he wakes up without the mask on, as Todoroki is sitting down in front of him. Hang on. Todoroki, she is saying that this is a bit weird. Exactly what is this thing? As Deku is looking at her a bit weird, not able to hear her, as he would just say that he can't hear. Huh? As Todoroki would take out one of the earbuds, saying, "What does this even do?" "It's what I use to sleep." That's weird. Yeah, well, not really. It's so that I don't get nightmares. Why? Why would you get nightmares? Well, apparently a villain my dad fought didn't die and has come back to haunt us. So he's trying to, well, break us mentally. Okay, that's a bit weird. Yeah. Anyways, as one of the doctors would walk in, along with Recovery Girl, they would just say that this is going to be a bit complicated. Now, Recovery Girl would just say that she's quite aware that moving him will be a bit weird, but the guys last night basically said that he will be fine. Anyways, we should actually get you transferred to a proper hospital, however. As Deku would try moving, Recovery Girl would stop him, saying that if he moves anymore, she will keep him bedridden for the rest of the week. Now, as she would heal his wounds, once again. Deku actually being able to at least get up and try and stand, as he'd be able to put weight on his legs and actually somewhat move forward, holding onto the railing of the hospital bed, as Todoroki does keep him on his feet, helping him. Recovery Girl would just say that he really is All Might's son. Anyways, kid, listen to me. You're gonna wanna not train for a while. I get the sports festival's coming up. I get you're determined. But if you don't listen to my advice, you may be back in this bed in the next few days. Now, also, you gotta be careful. Now, no gravity training. Or none of that old school style you talk about. Oh, come on. Okay. Well, then at least this gives me an opportunity to catch up to you, as Todoroki would say. Now, this is whenever Endeavor would walk into the room, saying that he finally found her. He figured she would be here. Anyways, let us go. We need to do proper training. To which Endeavor would just say that you must leave the All Might Boy behind. He is an obstacle, a hurdle for you to overcome. And now your little rebellion's over, so you don't really need him. Todoroki immediately looking at Endeavor, saying that he was never part of her little rebellion. She actually likes him, so if he can't accept that, as she would turn to Deku, giving him a kiss. Looking straight at him, saying that, then you're not going to be part of my life. Besides, what are you going to do? But I can just stop using my fire again. So, accept that. As Endeavor, someone gets angry. All Might would just pull him aside and try and give him an explanation as to why he just needs to calm down. Which is whenever Melissa would kind of walk in. Deku, he's kind of confused as to why she's here this early, and Todoroki's a bit confused as to who this even is, as she would just be looking at the scene. You have Recovery Girl, All Might's Endeavor, Todoroki, and Deku. Deku basically being held up by this girl. Hey Melissa. Who are you? Todoroki would say. Hi. Well, the name is Melissa Shields. Wait a minute. You mean like, yup, with the tech company. I actually dropped off the mask that he was wearing. So, that explains that. Yeah. Anyways, so, I thought we could catch up today, or well, go hang out, but I see you guys are all busy, as she would kind of just take a step out of the room. Now, Recovery goes to say that that's a bit confusing. Anyways, kid, here. As she would just hand over a cane, saying that he might need to use this to get around for a while, but just try and stay on your feet, or off your feet. Besides, keep your quirk at a minimum if you do use it. Don't go anywhere above 5. Alright, thank you, Recovery Girl. Besides, I thought you wanted me to stop using it for a minute. Kid, we both know you're not gonna stop. I'm just saying, you might cause more damage to your body if you go above it like this. Okay, now, Deku and Todoroki, they would walk out of the room. Deku somewhat using his cane while leaning on Todoroki. As a lot of people from Class 1A were kinda waiting outside. They would see Deku and Todoroki. Deku's arms and, well, body covered in bandages, everywhere up to his neck. And they were asking him exactly what happened to him, or, well, how did this all happen? Deku giving a rundown while trying to walk, as they would eventually get back to Deku's house. Now, after that happens, Deku would take a seat on the couch, as he actually does grunt in pain a bit, taking a bit of the painkillers Recovery Girl gave him, and just relaxing. As Todoroki, she's saying that this is a bit confusing. So, exactly what? How do you know Melissa? Well, I mean, my dad worked with David when they were younger, so she's basically family. Huh. Okay. Well, what do you think we should do? Well, I mean, I'm kinda immobilized, so. As Deku would tell her that they should probably at least hang out in the gravity chamber. Her giving him a hefty no. He can't really be in there. Doctor's orders. As they would somewhat hang out for an entire week. Deku talking and hanging out at home. Well, All Might would eventually get his own not recovery, but his own face mask from David whenever he arrives. Them all going out to eat, and Todoroki actually doing some training, as she would get herself up to around 40 to 50 times Earth's gravity in this amount of time. Somewhat being a bit angry that this new girl's around, using that as inspiration. Endeavor just thinks that she's finally going to get over that kid, so he'll just wait. As she would also try using her quirk in this gravity chamber. It was specifically made for heat, but it was also made for cold. So Todoroki should be blasting her on fire as she does turn around and immediately counter it with her own ice. And vice versa. Spending a lot of time in here. And we'll cut to the end of those 2 weeks. Deku is actually near to full recovery, and on the last day, Todoroki would come by, and she would see that Deku, he's actually training in the gravity chamber. As she would have walked in. She would just say that this is a bit crazy. You do know that. Well, I mean, yeah, that's about right. As she would just walk over to Deku. Deku asking what? He's not doing anything wrong. Besides, this is light training for him. I guess so. Anyways, exactly how have you been working on your quirk? Oh, well, I've gotten it to be a bit better. But it's just that. I'm trying to find a balance between these two. Well, I mean, if you're looking for a balance, try something different. Well, I mean, just try going with the flow. As she would just ignite half her body in ice and half her body in fire, saying that It's kinda weird, or well, she's still getting used to this, but there's a certain balance. She can only blast up to around this much ice at one time, and this much fire. But, well, whenever she immediately just claps her hands together, Deku would watch as it just cancels each other out, saying that there's the balance. Now, Deku, he would try working on this as the last day, as we'll cut over to UA. Deku's body is still bandaged, since he's still considered to be healing. But most of the ones he has just poke out of his UA uniform, as a lot of people are staring at the Son of All Might, who would begin giving a speech. He would go on saying that, "Hello everyone. As you all may know, my name is Izuku Midoriya, son of the number 2 hero, and, well, the current retired hero, Warhammer. As you all know, she is doing better. Thank you all for supporting my family this time. Also, the events at the USJ, those were tricky and, well, daring. I was injured along with, I believe, a great deal of students. However, we did capture quite a bit of villains that day. So, there is no need to worry. Anyways, as many of you know, a lot of us are here to compete. A lot of us might not be friendly with one another and see a lot of differences, but there's not really many. Except for one. As Deku would just raise up his hand saying that you just need to work on it. Determination is the only thing keeping you out of your goals, and or out of reach of them. If you work on it, then you will do fine. Now, plus Ultra, as Deku would end his speech. Now, after that is said, Deku he would walk off the podium, as he is now ready. Deku and Todoroki they are ready as she says that she's not going to go easy on him during this. You know that, right? Never expected you to. Besides, if you went easy on me, I thought you might actually love me for a minute. As she'd somewhat blush, saying of course she loves him, but you gotta be a bit more careful with the way you word that. Well now. As Deku would just somewhat be a bit cocky, saying if she plans on losing that much, then it's not really much of a challenge, then is it? Now, President Mike would say begin, as she covers the entire area in ice. She would immediately run outward, saying that it's going to be a lot harder to catch up to her now. Beat that, Midoriya. Now, as soon as she says that, there is a loud sound, as she would somewhat turn her head, seeing that Deku, he's floating. Oh crap. She completely forgot about that. Now, Deku would begin flying her way, as he turns on the One for All, and tries to focus on this. He would have been flying as he would actually be catching up on her very, very fast. Now, this is where he would do one thing, bringing his hands up behind him and immediately just flicking his fingers, creating shockwaves to actually boost himself forward, while Bakugo and everyone else, they are catching up. I want to say that Deku, he would still come in first place. However, Todoroki, I want to say she may have been overtaken by Ida, but she could spray ice throughout the entire ground, and fire to basically keep him away. So I want to say she comes in second place and Bakugo comes in third. Now, after that happens, you have the cavalry battle. Todoroki, she would have seen that Deku has quite the number on his head. So she actually will do one thing that she kinda didn't really think about. Her dad wants him to take Deku down. So what's the best way to piss him off a bit more? Join his team. No. she would join Deku's team as Deku, he would actually be a bit confused by this. She would have explained her motives, and he would have agreed, as the two would be on the same team. Now, after that happens, you have these two, Uraka, and I want to say Tokoyami. Todoroki, she was already kind of a bit more about having Uraka on the team, so she kind of allowed. Well, she was already kind of like that with Uraka, so she kind of picked Tokoyami to help. Now, after that, I want to say their team would come in first, and Bakugo's team would come in second. As we will now cut over to the combat portion. Now, after they would all get done with the cavalry battle, this is where Melissa, she would have started cheering Deku on, along with David, and quite a lot of other people. She would have taken notice to this, and Deku would have actually just waved out with a smile, as a lot of people do cheer him on. Now then, that is where we'll have Deku versus Shinsho. Now then, this fight would go differently than in canon. Deku, he's quite aware what Shinsho's quirk is, since he is in Class 1A. Now, Deku, he would be ready. As soon as he hears begin, he would have ran forward. And Shinsho would have just been trying to yell at him, as Deku would have picked him up while Shinsho's basically just flailing around. Deku just tossing him out of the ring. Shinsho being angry. Deku would have just said that, you gotta be a bit more tactical, man. Besides, I do know what your quirk is. As Deku would somewhat laugh it off. Now, the next match is going to be Bakugo versus Zero. These two's fight would be a bit different, because as soon as Zero would try using the same tactic against Bakugo that he used against Todoroki, Bakugo would have been able to just blast the tape out of midair, as he would run forward. Zero, he would be kind of freaked out, as he would just try using whatever he can to get Bakugo. Any of the tape he does hit Bakugo with, he's able to just, well, sweat through. It may be adhesive, but Bakugo is still a sweaty bastard. Now, eventually, Bakugo, he would have just been able to throw this tape back at, well, this guy, and get him stuck with it. As he would have charged forward, just blasting him. And the tape having a sweat on it would have made the explosion a lot bigger, as Zero would lose. Now, Ibarra versus Kaminari. This fight would go differently. No, wait, no, it would. Bleh. No, it wouldn't. Ibarra, she would win against Kaminari the same way she did in canon. And we'll have Ida versus Mei. Mei, somewhat actually using the gravity chamber before. I want to say she would do a bit better. She's used the tech, and well, she's tried working and actually messing with one before. Since the support course actually is in charge of that portion of the training for the students, monitoring certain tech and things that they use. Now then, I want to say that she's used it before, so she's a bit stronger, but she's also still a bit of a tech head. So she would have done the walking advertisement thing, and Ida would still be declared the winner after she forfeits. Now, Mina versus Kendo. This fight goes, well, differently, I want to say. I want us to give Mina the win, because Kendo, she would have gotten hurt quite a bit from her hands being hit with acid, and well, anytime she does swing them around, Mina, I want to say she'd be able to jump over them and at least maneuver better around these giant targets. Now then, with that being said, she would be given the win, as we'll have Momo versus Tokoyami. This fight would go differently with Momo actually being able to win. She would have created a shield which she would have used to block. Then, whenever Tokoyami goes to attack again, she would have rolled out of the way and create a flashbang, as she would use flashbangs to basically keep Tokoyami at bay. As whenever she does get close enough, she would have just been quite simply able to just punch him in the face and hold him down to the ground. Now, Kaminari, Kirishima versus Tetsu. The fight would go exactly the same since there's not really any difference in canon from these two. Deku, he would watch their match and find it to be a bit interesting, as Kirishima would lose. This time. Since, well, they both lost the physical match, but the arm wrestling conscious, I want to say Tetsu got plenty of iron this time, and was actually able to win. As we have the next match, which is Ochako versus Todoroki. Now, Melissa, she's actually cheering Todoroki on, as she's waiting for this match to begin. As soon as the match begins, Todoroki, she's just waiting for Ochako, as she would come running towards her. She would have thrown out a bit of ice, as there would be a small thing covering the ring, and it would immediately grab Ochako by her legs, as she would have been moved forward and trip over them, breaking the ice that was covering her legs, but it's still being there. As she tries walking forward, snapping it off, and chipping it slowly. Now, whenever that happens, she would have done one thing. Bring the rest of her body up and covering her entirely in ice, as she would just say that she's sorry about that. As Ochako, she's basically standing there with her hands outwards and her face unfrozen, saying that no problem, but can you please get me out of this? Sure. As she would walk forward, using her fire. Now, as soon as that happens, we'll cut to the next match. Deku versus Bakugo. This fight, people are kind of, well, not sure how to feel since they've only seen these two fight in one match. They're thinking that All Might's kid is clearly going to win. However, some people keep betting on Bakugo, since they only think, or well, have seen All Might's kid use two different forms of a quirk. One for all and flying. Now, the match would begin. Bakugo getting ready, just telling him if he's going to use that, his new quirk as he calls it, then you're going to have to fight me seriously. So, let's do this. As Bakugo would bring his hands up, sparking them with explosions. Deku, he would just somewhat smirk, charging up one for all. As Bakugo watches this happen, Deku would charge in. As soon as that happens, he would have thrown his hand out forward, actually watching as Bakugo does dodge his punch. And there's a small shockwave. People being impressed at that much force behind a punch, as Bakugo would try blasting Deku in his side. Deku would have taken this damage as he would immediately bring down his elbow, smashing into Bakugo's back. Bakugo would have somewhat, felt this as he would try just blasting up into Deku more and more. Deku actually being able to grab Bakugo and pull him up over his head, as he does throw him across the ring. Bakugo would be able to recover by this, as Deku would step off his leg and immediately fly forward. Now, as Deku flies forward, Bakugo would try and get things ready, as he would have actually done one thing. Flying forward himself, he would have brought his hand outwards, as Deku, he goes to counter a punch. Bakugo actually kicking forward, as he kicks Deku in the face. Deku wasn't expecting that, as he tries to at least counter with his own kick. Moving his body weight and shifting it, he would be able to counter by bringing back both of his legs, smashing them in the back of Bakugo's head, as he falls into the ring. Deku, he would try and, get on the ground, but he's more or less just, floating and somewhat flying in a circle for a second. As Deku would finally get control over this, as he does actually set himself on the ground. Bakugo, he's currently on the ring, and he's trying to shake this off. As Deku just tells Bakugo that he has a concussion. I know a bit about those. They're not easy to shake off. Besides, it's going to be a bit more difficult from now on. Why? Because I'm getting serious. As Deku would drop this and immediately shout, Kaioken! As he does so, bursting into a red aura, charging forward with electricity. Deku would show off this bit of a new style as he immediately just steps forward, pushing his hand outwards. Or pushing his fist outwards. As Bakugo, he barely got on his 2 feet, as an airwave would punch Bakugo in the face, sending him flying out of the ring. Deku actually just holding his hand outwards as he just thinks, well, that wasn't what I was trying to do. I just thought the air pressure could send him out. Good to know. As people are somewhat staring at him for a second. Did he just... Yeah, he did. Now, Ibarra versus Tenya Ida. Exactly like canon. Ida, he would push her out of the ring and actually get her out this time. Well, in my what-ifs. Yeah, I think I usually let Ibarra win. Anyways. Then you have... Mei versus Momo. This fight would go actually differently with Momo actually winning. Mina thought she had the physical speed advantage since she's able to move around on slime. However, Momo has been doing actual weight training. So, she's actually been wearing weighted clothing, or at least weighted shoes and weighted wristbands. She's been able to keep them hidden, along with the fact that she has weights on her ankles. She would have taken them off, as she would have been able to outpace Mina, not realizing exactly how fast this girl actually is. As Momo would have been able to make a bat, or at least something to actually fight her with. Let's say a staff, as he was able to hit her in the gut with it and actually just bop her in the nose. Since she was able to apply enough force into her face to actually, get her dazed and confused and make her fall to the ring. As she would be declared the winner. Now, you have Todoroki versus Kirishima. This fight would go with her blasting ice directly at Kirishima, and Kirishima trying to punch through it. He would have been able to break through some of it, but whenever he does try to fight her physically, or get close enough to her, she would have just used her fire and immediately blasted at him. As she would have done one thing. She would have, whenever Kirishima got close enough to her or was running straight at her, throw both of her hands out forward and put them together. As she would have blasted both sides of her cork directly in front of him. And I think you both know, I think everyone knows what happens whenever absolute heat and absolute cold meet. Kirishima somewhat gets blasted out of the ring. As Todoroki, she somewhat made a gun out of her quirk. People's finding that a bit fascinating, but see that she somewhat lost her footing there. Now, Deku versus Tenya, or Ida. Now, the fight would go with Ida thinking that he needs to get this over with fast. If Deku has enough time to turn on his quirk, then this will not work. Now, as soon as he hears the word go, he would have ran straight forward, using reciprocal burst. But as soon as he gets close enough to Deku, Deku would have taken a step to his left, and held out his right leg. Ida, realizing what he's doing, would not have enough time to stop the burst, as Deku sends him flying out of the ring by tripping him, which people were a bit confused by, because all I see was this guy move extremely fast, then out of the ring. That's it. So, what just happened? Now, Deku would just tell Ida that he really shouldn't do that if he's only trying to go for close quarters combat. But hey, I see why you kinda did that. Only choice that would have given you a chance. Pretty good though. Now, you have Momo versus Todoroki, as Melissa is still cheering from the stands. She's actually just cheering on Todoroki as she's getting a bit more annoyed at this. Now, she would immediately walk into the ring as Momo says that they need to give it their best. Todoroki would somewhat agree, saying that she's just here to try and beat him, or beat them. So you kinda just need to stop. Huh? Why are you acting that way? It's just that, as she was going to stop saying that, she just needs to prove that she's able to win with her quirk. Okay, well, how about this? No quirks, physical fight. Fair enough? Alright, deal. Besides, where'd you get those weights from? I made them. I'm gonna need a pair after this. Noted. As long as you help me with train. Of course. As Todoroki somewhat cools down. No pun intended. Now, with that being said, the match will begin. These two lunging forward and basically fighting. Throwing punch after punch after punch, as Momo has been able to learn a fighting style, but Todoroki hasn't. Although she physically dominates in power and strength. Now, this is where Todoroki should eventually win, as she was able to throw her fist upwards and actually smash it up into Momo's chin, somewhat cracking her jaw as she would have been able to sock her in the gut and throw a left hook across her face, breaking her nose. Now, Momo would have eventually had to give up, as this fight is very, very, very bad for her. She basically broke most of the bones in her face, and/or some of the bones on her face, and actually cracked a few ribs, as she would have gone to see Recovery Girl. People somewhat not knowing how to feel about that match. But the two were friends, so yay? Now, Deku versus Todoroki. People are looking forward to this match, since you have the number 1 hero's daughter versus the number 2 hero's son. So, let us do this. As President Mike would be announcing the event, asking Aizawa exactly what does he think the outcome will be. Well, you see, we have our multi-quirk wonder, All Might's son. His quirk, people have thought, different theories about All Might's. So his son, being the bigger mystery, has brought up more questions about his quirk. Now, with that being said, this match would go, I want to say it's unpredictable, really. That kid, I've seen him push his body to the absolute limits. He was actually bound to a hospital bed for nearly 3 days. Nearly? What do you mean? Well, the kid actually barely trained over the break. From what I heard from All Might, his son was actually basically hanging out on the couch for a day and a half after he got home. And when did he get home? He got healed by Recovery Girl the day after the incident, or the day of the incident. The day after, he went home, then he rested on the couch, I believe. Interesting. So how much training did he get in for the 2 weeks? As Deku would just say, barely any at all. Now, with that happening, Todoroki should be ready, as soon as she hears go, she would have gone all out, blasting ice directly towards Deku, as Deku would have used One for All and Kaioken, as he would have been able to actually throw his left arm straight upwards toward the sky, sending the ice skyward. Now, as soon as that happens, Deku would have ran around the pillar, as Melissa begins to cheer on Deku. She would have gotten annoyed, as she would have turned to Deku, blasting him with fire. As that happens, Deku would have been able to move out of the way, as he basically flies around the blast and actually does get close enough to kick her in the ribs. As soon as that happens, she would get sent flying towards the middle of the ring, as these two actually do start fighting and actually making their way into the ice, or well, the ice that Deku directed upwards. Basically, the fire that they're producing is hollowing parts of it out. As the two begin to battle, she's just saying that she can't believe that Melissa's here cheering him on. Huh? Why? She's basically family. Well, I get it, but it's just that it's kind of weird. Why? Well, we've been loners for a long time. Doesn't that make sense? As she would crack Deku across the face. Deku would have turned and actually socked her in the ribs, saying that does make sense, but she's basically family. That's it. Okay. Well, as she would have smashed Deku across the face, actually hurting his nose. Deku, he would have just grabbed her, picking her up, and throw her through the ice. As she would go through, rolling through it. Getting back up, saying that this fight is not going to be easy. Besides, I'm pretty sure this is going to end with us blowing up half the arena. You're right about that. So, as Todoroki could hear her dad cheering her on, saying that she needs to beat him and he is her final obstacle. Defeat him, then we will get through proper training. As they can hear the number one hero yelling this at the top of his lungs. Mike not really sure what to say about this. Todoroki getting very annoyed. Bringing her hands up to her head and immediately just telling him to shut up. As Endeavor's confused. She would have done one thing. Telling Midoriya that this is annoying. You know what would really piss him off? What would that be? If we both forfeit the finals and leave. I have an idea about that then. As Deku would walk forward, turning off both of his quirks. People confuse exactly what they're doing. As these two would turn to each other and kiss in the middle of the arena. As the entire crowd starts being in shock and actually roaring to life. As Todoroki would turn to Endeavor, saying that she's out of here and she doesn't need to take any of this. Grabbing Deku by the hand, they would walk off and completely leave the arena. As they're not sure what to do. There are two finalists just literally left on a date. So, what are they going to do now? So, anyways, Bakugo would basically come in first since those two forfeited. And I want to say that... let's see. Bakugo would be first, Ibara would be second, and by technicality, I want to say Momo... Well, no, Bakugo would be first, Todoroki. Bakugo first, Momo second, and Ibara would be in third. Now, Deku and Todoroki would have left and actually enjoyed some of the, places outside the arena that actually are handing out food. As they would basically have lunch and leave. Now then, that is going to be where I leave things off of, guys. I do hope you enjoyed the video. And have an amazing day. I'll catch you guys in the next part. And surprise ending. Now then, I do hope you guys enjoyed.